Welcome back, friends, to the shop. Today we're going to be taking a look at a really interesting chainsaw sharpening system that appears to be very compact and very simple. Simple enough for an East Coast man, I would suspect, but don't quote me on that. This was actually has been requested by several of you guys over the years. I reached out to Timberline, who manufactures this. I was pleased to find out that they're up in Idaho, and they sent this out to me. I also negotiated some free ones for you guys, so stay tuned to the end of the video, and I'll show you how you can possibly win one of those. Before we go over the bench, we've got to knock the edge off this. This is a 461 32-inch bar, a full skip chain, and this is a rock. The Timberline Sharpener is actually quite simple and only consists of basically three pieces. You have, I guess for lack of a better word, you have basically the main frame or the carrier. You have the handle, which attaches to these really nice high quality carbide cutting bits. Now these are the consumable part of it. I mean, every time, whenever you sharpen a chainsaw, you're going to have a consumable of some sort, whether that be a file or a stone. Now, I asked the guys up there, how long will these last? And they said, if you take care and you do it right and you don't break them, it's not uncommon to get 30 or 40 sharpenings out of one at a replacement cost at around $20, $23, if memory serves. And the other thing about it is whatever chain size or pitch you have, you're going to be able to do with this by simply adding a different size carbide tip. So if you have a little tiny guy, or you have the regular 3/8 here, then you're going to be fine. Now, just to show you here before we set it up, and I hope I set it up right. Again, I don't have a ton of experience, but the other thing that really appeals to me is that you have, when you insert the cutter in here, once you mount this, you don't have to flip it, unlike many of the other sharpeners, and then reset everything up. Once this is set up, and it can be done in just a few seconds, when you need to cut the other side of the teeth, you simply come over here and come in the other side. So that's a very good design, very simple. Pretty well built. I mean, certainly built to a price point. You can see the anodizing and such is not, your super high-end stuff, but they keep it in at around $100 or so, which I think is totally fair. You've got these pawls right here for back that I'll show you here in a minute how those work. But overall, build quality looks really good. Here's a pro tip for you. Take a Sharpie or something and put it across on the tooth where you start. Sometimes if you have a chain that you're just touching up, it's hard to know if you've already sharpened it or not. So, of course, I never read any instructions, so I kind of muddle through here. So this is not necessarily a tutorial. But of course, you see that the tooth is that way. So we're going to use the back hole. I did glance at them. So what I think, what the procedure is you put the carbide bit in there, and basically you're putting that into the gullet or into the hook or the curvature of the chain, just like your file would fit right there. Once you get that established, then you simply tighten these two knobs on the outside and get that reasonably straight. It's not critical at this point right here. Now we've got that mounted. Don't worry about the middle one. I used that. It didn't seem to be super effective. Okay, now we can back this out. Now this end right here, no, I've got this on backwards. I'm so sorry, guys. All we do now for the setup is basically that we have this adjustment right here, and this is going to adjust how deep basically where the tooth sets. Now if we back this back out, we can see as we go this way, these little pawls lift up. And then once they drop off past the tooth, then you slide it back, and that sets your position. This is very precise. What I'm finding is that this is a chain that is relatively new. I've probably hand filed it twice, and what the Timberline Sharpener is pointing out to me is what's going on there? Is my lack of consistency. We all think that we are holding the file at the right angle, but without a jig, it's near impossible to get it perfect. That's why our saw is cut crooked. If you're going through bucking a big log and it wants to turn on you, that means you're sharpening one side at a different angle than the other typically. And what these jigs do is they bring that back into alignment, and they give you a perfect grind every time. It's very simple to use. It just cuts the little chips off there. It's quiet, no electric motors. It's pretty fast too. I mean, as fast as you can just turn this. There's a taper on the end of that. It's really quite good. There's a taper on the end of that carbide, and that helps get it started. And I just back that out, bring my tooth over, and just bring it in. Very nice. I'm getting absolute precision. We'll take this out and cut with it here when we're done and see what's what. Wouldn't be a bad idea to put a drop of oil on that little arm from time to time. Looks like everything's replaceable, so if this wears over time, I'm sure you could get the new inserts. But look how nice that goes through there. And it's absolutely precise. Here you can see on the other side how you change it. So for changing the angles for the other side, you just put it over here and everything pretty much stays in alignment. Well, let's take a look at our work. Let's see how that chain looks. So get up here close. Boy, that's really sharp. The thing that keeps coming to mind is it's precise. It's absolutely precise, which is really interesting. Look at the, and it's a good polish. I was a little concerned that the carbide might be a little bit coarse or rough, but it leaves a much brighter and shinier, more polished finish than a file does. I mean, I can just almost see my reflection off the inside of that gullet. This is cat claw sticky sharp right there. It's a little deceiving. It almost feels like it's not cutting. And then you look at it and like, oh, it is cutting, and you're going to take a lot less material off if you use it correctly than you would with a conventional file. And there you have it. The proof is in the eating of the pudding. Look at those shavings. Big old chunks of shavings there. That's what a sharp chain looks like. Look at the rips right there. Big old long ribbons. All right, guys, so what did we learn about the Timberline sharpener? Let's talk about the good points and some of the bad points. One of the bad points, and this may not matter to you, but I think it's important, is that I don't like the case it came in. I didn't show you the case, but this is the case. It's just a simple case with a belt loop on it. That's the first thing you're greeted with when you open this up. And, I think guys that are going so far as to sharpen their own chainsaw, I can't speak for everyone, but I think that's the type of guy that appreciates quality, right? If you're going to that trouble and you care enough about keeping your tools sharp and all that, quality matters to you, and being greeted with a case that's just not very nice and it's kind of crinkly, and then you open it up and it's got a great big Made in China tab on there, just kind of starts things off on the wrong foot. I would, and I know the argument, guys will say, well, I'd rather have that money go into the tool and the finishes and the machining than the case, and I get that, but this is so compact and so small. This is something that a guy could wear on his faller's belt. And I would be willing to pay an extra, $25, $30 and have a quality case that was really slim, really tough, maybe a heavy ballistic nylon on it, had a smart attachment system, where I could snap this on my belt. I mean, I probably would use it. I wouldn't use this particular case. It's just kind of bulky and not very nice. So with that out of the way, what about the tool itself? Well, I did run into a little bit of a problem with when I went to change directions from this side to the other side, where it wasn't quite the same. Now, I was using a chain that I had filed myself, so I could have over-filed on one side, and that very well may be. There may be nothing wrong with this. Even if it was the fault of this, it was a non-issue. I simply turned the knob about a 3/4 of a turn, reset it, did the whole tooth, and it worked just fine. It was not a problem. As far as the consumables, I'm going off of memory here, but I think that little carbide bit was about $23. And he said if you could sharpen 30 to 40 times, let's say that's optimistic. Let's say 20 times, right? Well, at 20 times, that's less than $1 a sharpening. And I typically will do maybe 2 or 3 sharpenings with one file, and I toss it. Usually 2, to be honest with you. And those files are, probably $3 a piece or so. So it's actually a pretty good value. You can be a master at it. You can be sharpening inside of, I'd say, 15 minutes from opening it. It doesn't take any specific skill. It's a nice little package. It really worked great. I mean, look at the shavings. I mean, that 461 just went crazy through that wood with that sharp blade. It's a nice little system. What I really like about it is not having to just switch the sides. I recommend it. I'll keep it and I'll use it. If there's something to update in the future, I'll let you know. But I think it's great, especially for guys that don't want to have to go through all the trouble to relearn how to sharpen saws all the time. And most guys who say they can file it by themselves, file it by hand. I haven't seen most guys can't. To be honest with you. What I would recommend, I think, I went ahead and sharpened 3 saws with it in varying different sizes and all that. What I found was one of the chains I had was really beat up, and it was coming to the end of its life. This was not a great sharpener for that because of the inconsistency of the teeth and how I had filed them incorrectly. I was constantly having to adjust this to bring it back to spec. So what I would recommend, if you're going to use this sharpener, start with a brand new sharpener and start with a brand new chain. And you're not going to have to set it up, because the first time you sharpen on a new chain, you're going to have to reestablish those angles. The second time, all you're going to have to do is just touch it up, and it's going to be maybe 2 or 3 minute job of doing it. So buy a new chain and be consistent if you're going to do it, and you're not going to have near as much trouble. This will go into an old chain and correct all those mistakes you've made, but you're going to be there. You're looking at a half hour, 45 minutes to do that. So what's your time worth? I guess you have to determine that. So how do you get one of these for free? So I don't remember, is that focused? Oh, it's getting so dark. I'm sorry about the light. I don't remember if he said he would. I think it was half a dozen or so. If you comment on this video and give a thumbs up, I will do a randomizer and pick you guys and forward that to him, and he'll send these out to you. So, and I don't remember what it was. I'll double check. Anyway, put your name and comment on there, and that will enter you. You don't have to buy anything, and then we'll get those out to you. But I think you'll really like it. It's a great little system. I'm surprised I haven't tried it before now. One final note before we go. I'm sorry, I forgot to put the video link to the Mark 18 build. I was editing from the car. We were going to my parents', so it just didn't happen. I will put it in the subject heading here. Just look under Mark 18, and that'll take you over to unauthorized, and you can watch that. And become a member, sign up. Don't sign up, you don't have to, but you can enjoy those videos, and there's going to be more of that stuff on that channel. So that's it. Good job. The guys at Timberline were really nice guys. Enjoyed talking to them. Good local Northwest business. I just don't have any gripes. Better than I expected. Just a great little sharpener. No issues whatsoever. So thanks for watching, and we'll keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you guys on the next video.